Okay, hello, good evening, everybody. Just a quick survey we were and discussing with my panels. We'd just like everybody who's a musician in the room to raise their hand because sometimes music reps come out. Okay, all right, okay, so we're pretty full of musicians, very, very good. And not that we don't welcome everybody, but it's nice to know our audience, like are you collecting information for artists you represent, or are you an artist yourself? And it sometimes changes the dialogue or the flow of the dialogue. So anyhow, thank you very much for indulging us. All right, unfortunately, we had some presentations here, and I'm gonna follow along on my laptop, but we couldn't get them up on the screen for whatever reason, technical difficulties. So I am going to still, so I can keep myself on track, follow along on my computer here. And yes, and what I'm covering today is recording under, so actually I should just back up a second, although I was just introduced. I'm Liana White with the Canadian Federation of Musicians, which is the national office in Canada for the American Federation of Musicians of the United States and Canada. There are an array of services and benefits that we provide to professional musicians. I will be highlighting just one of those many benefits, which is our recording agreements and why it's beneficial to record under a union agreement. And again, so the AFM/CFM is the union for professional musicians covering all of North America. Okay, so we have various negotiated and other type sub-agreements, which we call promulgated agreements, that cover musicians' recorded works. And this is for further protections and revenue streams that you can earn and secure on your earnings. And they are in addition to what my fellow panelists here will be presenting to you. Both SOCAN and Musicians Rights Organization are royalties that are legislated in under copyright laws, whereas what I am presenting to you today is an agreement that we have established to better protect, again, musicians' recorded works, and the additional residuals that flow through. I typically call our agreement the gravy. You're still going to get your SOCAN, you're still going to get your neighboring rights or your mechanical rights, et cetera, but this is additional revenues you can realize under agreement. So you would be, what we have is you would protect yourself and your performances, and if there is legal protection in the sense that if your music is recorded again under our agreements, then we are tracking the use of those songs that are being used. If you feel that your music has been used without your permission and or proper compensation, then you would contact our office, and then we would take whatever actions we needed to in order to collect on those performances. And also if it was something like you didn't authorize the use of your music, you're vegan and your music ended up in a dairy farmer's commercial, and you have a moral obligation to that, then we would even if it wasn't about compensation, then we would make sure that your music is being used in the way that you would like it to be used. Now, one of the biggest benefits to recording under our agreements is that we have what's called the Special Payments Fund. And it is, the Sound Recording Special Payments Fund. And this fund is established through negotiations between the AFM and all of the major labels and signatory labels to our agreement. And it's a profit sharing that is negotiated. So it does, and it's not based on record sales. It is based on your actual contracted fees. So as long as you are recording under agreement, filing a contract, then we look at what your earnings were under that contract, and there is a residual that's paid out to you for 5 years for 5 years following that recording. So the more recordings you're doing, the more potential you have to earn these additional monies. So the residual, it works out that it's on a sliding scale, starting as high as 15% and ending at 3% in year 5. So whatever your what we call scale wages, your earnings under contract, it would be 15% of those earnings would then be sent to you in August of the following year of filing the contract, and so it's additional monies. Also, because this fund is established in the United States, they pay out in US dollars, even though your earnings under contract are in Canadian dollars. So for Canadians, it's an even bigger benefit for that reason. So just to give a loose example, it's so much easier to follow if I could give you my presentation. So I'm doing my best to do this on the fly and have it make sense. So we just used a rough figure of $1,300. Let's say you were, this would be the bare minimum scale. If you are, let's say it would be, you're an independent artist signing on to the agreement and filing, and you've got a 45-minute full-length album. Not actually, this example would be for a side musician scale. So you're a duo, let's say. So that the side musician could potentially earn $1,300 for under this recording of 45 minutes, and in year 1 for the special payments fund, they would receive a check of $195 US. Then the following year would be $156, so on and so forth. And then in year 5, where it is down to 3% of the earnings, you would receive $39. Again, it is quite the benefit. Now, you can earn much more than $1,300. What we've done is use this as an example that it would be a more independent recording, and you can spend a year or potentially longer, 6 months to a year, maybe longer, actually recording your album. So it really depends on what the budget is, and you can also file per session. The base rate at this time is $434 for a 1 3-hour session. And that would be for a side musician. Anybody who is a leader would receive double that amount. Again, there's various ways to do it. We can either do this based on 15 minutes of recorded content. So that's your 3-hour scale your 3-hour minimum call at 434 allows for 15 minutes of final recorded product. So what we've done is just done 3-hour sessions to come up with your 45 minutes of completed music. We would work with everybody. We're happy to work with everybody on what situation fits them best, and we will help artists complete their paperwork as well. So there's, again, it's very in-depth, so I'm giving a very cursory review. In addition to the special payments fund, again, that's automatic and a guarantee. It provided you're recording under agreement. We also track all of the recordings that are under our agreements, and we have what's called, we refer to it as new use, and that is when your recording is taken and placed into a film or into a commercial, and it could be, non-broadcast content or for broadcast. For instance, I just, dealt with a matter with the Ontario Science Centre, and they have, films there that are non-broadcast, and so it really doesn't matter where the product where and how the product will be distributed. You could still earn potential extra monies. So when you have recorded under again, or so how people find out if your music is requiring additional residuals is by contacting our office. Our office is contacted regularly by producers and by music supervisors. They will send us lists of songs that they are interested in placing into whatever audio or audiovisual product. And then we will let them know then after we do our song searches if that song is covered for the additional residuals. So this really helps to protect or to provide additional earnings for that side musician. And even just if you are the master rights holder of your song, you're going to still get that licensing fee, but you will, on top of that, get the additional residual that we are going to negotiate with that end user. And in addition to that, there is pension. So that's one thing that I left out as well, is that we have pension built into all of our agreements. So you're recording under agreement, you're getting the special payments fund, there will be a pension as well, a pension calculation as well. And that is, again, if you're recording as an independent artist, you do need to be incorporated as a business. And just as a little side note, as musicians, this is your business. You are a business, so you should be protecting yourself and making sure that you're at least registered as a business, if not also incorporated. For the purposes of using these agreements that I'm talking about right now as an independent artist, not signed to a label, or having somebody engage you to record, and that will be signing on to this, you are required to be incorporated. So at any rate, you will have, with new use, you will have, get your master license fee, you will get whatever other, as I said before, the copyright royalties that are there for you, but then you would receive this additionally new use. And sorry, as I was saying, for the side musicians, which aren't the master rights holders, they will be guaranteed some sort of compensation. And it's not that the leader does not have to pay that, nobody else except for that end user. So we're negotiating with the music supervisor, with the producer. And so it's not money out of any artist's pockets. This is money out of the producer's pocket to compensate musicians for the use of their material. And this also works in the sense of audiovisual clips, for instance, for a very straightforward example, the CBC will put on, they've got a ton of audiovisual clips. And, if there's a documentary being done on a particular artist or on a particular world event, and you were playing music and captured, within this programming, and it's going to be used for something else, we also negotiate the audio visual clip uses of your performances too. So okay, so I don't know what time we're at here. I didn't. It's a lot of 6 more minutes. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so I touched on pension before as well. So pension it's 12% of whatever the contracted fees are, and the contracted scale fees. So again, for 1 3-hour session for a side player, it's $434, and 12% of which, so it would be 12% over and above would go into a pension account for you. Let me see where I'm at. I think that, actually, I'll just stop there because then I'm going to get too much into the weeds. This is a full 1 hour presentation I've got here where I can get really deep into nitty gritty. So considering I only have 6 minutes left, I'll leave it at that, and I'll look forward to your questions later.